Welcome to our Two Posh podcast. I'm Gabrielle, and I am your host today, here with my daughter Marcella, co-hosting.
Hello.
And my husband Patrick.
Hola.
Who is standing in for Bernie today. And Spider. Happy birthday, Spider.
Thank you. Aloha to all.
We have a very special guest today that we have tried to get to come on for a while, and she finally made it, and we feel so honored that you made the time to come here. This is Debbie Moses, and she is the mom of our dear friend Keith Moses. We have done one show about Keith a long time ago, right shortly after he passed, but I always wanted to do a show that does him justice for the person that he was. He was such a close friend to all of us that he was family. We considered him family for
Absolutely.
sure. Mm-hmm. Started with being dating Marcella, actually. That's how it all started.
Very young.
Yeah, I remember a pool party you came to.
I know. I don't even
Black
recognize
hair,
myself.
White bikini, gorgeous.
Oh, you remember?
Black hair.
I had black
Oh, yeah.
hair, Spider.
That just sounds crazy.
I have pictures of me and Keith, and I only have black hair when we were dating. And then we just stayed best friends forever.
Yeah.
I think that happened a lot with his
Yeah.
Yes.
exes, right? He stayed friends with them. That's
Because
great.
he's so sweet. You couldn't ever be mad at him. So you're
Right.
like, well, I'll take you in this capacity. I guess.
Right. Take what you can get.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Well,
because
thank you for having me.
we're such a pleasure to have you. And I think Keith, just because he was such close friends with Marcella, then just hung out with us all the time, and he stole our hearts too. And then Patrick always calls him another one of our kids.
Right. He was.
Well, and he talked about you guys all the time. And every time I talked to him, it's like, I'm going over to Marcella's. I'm going to Marcella's.
It was really
Sometimes they were hanging out with them. I wasn't even around.
Yeah.
They're like, we're going with Keith. I was like, oh, okay.
Most of the time we were with him, Marcella was nowhere to be found.
You have taken my parents.
There are many stories that we will talk about, but I wanted to give you the opportunity to tell us about your Keith. Like even go back to when you found out you were pregnant with him.
Well, first of all, I didn't think I'd ever get pregnant. And I was 28 when I did. And I knew I only wanted one child. And I got him. But I remember when he was first born, his dad loved Harleys. So he said, let's name him Harley David, son of Moses.
No way.
No, that's not happening. That is not happening. So when he was in the bassinet, he was kept scooting up. So I said, okay, we'll call him Scooter as a nickname.
Oh, that's
well, not that he liked it. Scooter, he didn't like that name much, but that's how he got it. So,
I got that name.
And he was such a good baby, good kid. Growing up in junior high school, I remember one time that he was going to start his first year, and all the boys were getting new tennis shoes. So, I mean, good, back then, $100 tennis shoes.
Right.
And this single mom couldn't afford it, but somehow I made it happen. Then I dropped him off at school, and that's where all the boys were gathering, looking down at each other's tennis shoes. I was like, oh, thank God I was able to do that for him, Yeah, so he's done lots of different things, but that was, and then high school, he never seemed to be shy.
No.
He wasn't shy.
No.
And he made lots of friends. And then after high school, he did go into the military for a short period of time. And then
What branch?
the Marines. And he went through the, I can't remember what you call it.
Boot camp?
Boot camp, yeah. He went through boot camp and in California, in San Diego. And I was going to go out there to meet him for his graduation. Well, in the crucible, which is the really hard part of it, he broke his foot. So he couldn't graduate.
Oh, no.
He had to go back through the whole class.
No.
Yeah. But he did. He's determined, and he got through it. But then about that time was when things started to change with him.
Really?
with drugs.
How old was he then?
19.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you could tell, like, you noticed?
Well, I guess he was about 22. I didn't notice at the time, but that's when he started hanging with people that, out of school, and me not having any control much anymore on him, with him, So about 21, he was arrested. So that's how I really found out, when I had to go bail him out of jail. And then I think there was one more time that he had to stay in jail. And I had to go to Tarrant County to see him.
Like he got caught with drugs?
Yeah.
Is that what kind of drugs back then?
I can't remember. I don't remember. And that's another thing you're going to find out about me. My memory's not real good about a lot of things. So.
That's okay.
But I do remember that because that was pretty
traumatic.
Traumatic, yeah. So then when he was in jail, he was there and he got out on work release during the day. But at night he had to go back there.
How long was he there?
3 months.
And you don't remember what kind of drugs? Like, was it prescription drugs or was it like cocaine?
Yeah, I think it was like cocaine.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was more than just prescription drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have the money to get him out, so some of his friends got him out. So then that's when he started, keeping things from me. But he was always a daredevil. Always. I don't know if you guys noticed that about him, but he was always a daredevil. When he was 5 years old, we got him a Honda 50. And we had a porte-cochere with a circle driveway. He would jump the driveway on that motorcycle. He just never felt any fear.
Mm-hmm.
So we finally had to sell it, And then he went into BMX bicycle racing and got lots of trophies, did really good at that. And that was, in his younger years. Mm-hmm. So these are things that are just coming to my mind about, So, and then I remember in high school, he had gone to visit his dad for the weekend. Well, I worked at Lennox at the time, and so his dad dropped him off, and he just got in the car, and it was just about time for me to get off. So I went in the car, and I said, "What are you doing?" Because he was facing away from me. And he said, "I'm just tired. I'm really tired." So we got home, and I said, "You're not even talking to me." His dad called and said, "Don't panic, but he got a tongue ring this weekend." I said, "What?"
Don't panic.
I said, "What?" And so I was walking in the room and talking to him. His dad said, "Don't go crazy now. Don't go crazy." Because I said, "You're grounded forever. You're grounded forever." And how much did that cost you? Because it's coming out of your mouth right now. That was high school. And then wanting to bleach his hair blonde, we did that. And one time he showed up at work with my work. He had put sun in on his bald head, and then went outside and got burnt. Oh. He got his scalp burnt.
Oh my God.
So he just did funny things like that. And I remember one time when he was about 4, and he had his bicycle with training wheels on it. And we always went to see our best friends in Cedar Hill, and he would take his bicycle. So we went over there one afternoon, and they had older boys. So one of the older boys brought his girlfriend in, and the other one brought his girlfriend in. So there were 2 with these really pretty girls, right? So Keith is sitting there, and they say something to him. The girls do, and he's just like, so shy, so shy. And it was so funny because he told his daddy, he said, I want you to take those training wheels off my bicycle right now. Right now.
And then he changed forever.
Yeah, and then that's where he was like, wow, women, girls, pretty. So, yeah, but then going back to...
He was a ladies' man for sure.
Oh, yeah, he was, always. Always. But he was a sweet one.
Yeah.
A sweet one.
Very.
All the girls love him.
Yeah.
Even the ones he broke up with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been amazing to me, and all of them have stayed in touch with me,
With
too.
you.
Oh, yeah.
The only ones that he really cared about are the ones that I met.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you and Misty and Christy and
There's a lot that
Katie.
you didn't meet.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
I think it's a lot.
He's very charismatic. There's something about his personality. I think every girl just loved Keith. It was like crazy. It wasn't just Keith. It was like the girls, like he had the ability to make girls fall in love with him very fast too.
I don't know what it was. He didn't get it from me. So he got it from his dad. I don't know.
Oh my goodness. What else do you like? I want to know like the favorite stories about him that you have that like he did for his mama. Like what was?
Well, I remember in high school, he had just gotten his driver's license. Well, I was going to get a different car. I had I don't even remember, but it was going, and I wanted a truck, a pickup. So he and I go out shopping for a pickup. What do I come home in? A red Camaro. Yeah. And he had just gotten his driver's permit. And I remember we were living in an apartment, and he wanted to go to the mall. That's back when they had beepers and things, you know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I said, okay, but you've got to go, stay an hour and come back. That's it. Because it's first time he's going out driving. And I'm sitting on the steps outside just like, oh.
Right.
You know, so nervous.
So worried.
Well, an hour passed. He wasn't back.
Shocking.
Yeah. And I beeped him. Didn't answer. Finally, when he got home, he said, well, I left my beeper in the car. Right. Yeah. And he had a girl with him, of course.
Oh,
yeah. So
shocking again.
But then another time, I remember it was Mother's Day, and I think he was a senior in high school, and I was working at a men's clothing store part-time, and it was on a Sunday. And so he took me to work. He never said Mother's Day, Happy Mother's Day or anything. And I was like, you know. A little while later, he comes up with 24 red roses.
Aww.
And gave them to me and all these people in the store, you know. So,
Aww.
and he had a card that said, "I love you, Mom, Scooter." So I still have that card. I still have that card. Yeah. So.
Oh my goodness. So then did you, as time went on, when you knew about the drugs and the jail, like, were you worried? Did he ever tell you he was fine? Did he kind of remove himself from you more and more? Like, how was that?
That's when he started, he actually went into real estate, and I thought he was going to, you know, he said, I'm not, Mom, I don't want to go to jail again. I don't want to, you know. And his dad had always accused me of having my head buried in the sand because of things I didn't want to, you know about. I didn't want to believe that they were true.
But that's an easy thing to do as mom.
Yes, it is. Yes. And my only child, my son, my baby. So anyway, I'm sorry.
Don't say sorry. No. Take all the time you want.
So I can't. I'm sorry. I don't even remember where I was. What was
he went into real estate.
He went into real estate, and it seemed like he was turning around, you know, but he wasn't living with me, so it was still hard to tell.
Right.
It's still hard to tell. But then I think he did get away from it for a while, but then he had already let his real estate license lapse. So he called me at work one day and he said, I want to get my hours done again. Can you do this for me or do that for me or whatever? Yeah. Okay. Yes, please. I will. Yes. Anything. So this is when he got back into real estate, and he really looked like he was really doing very well with it. But I do remember that he lived downtown, and at a certain point, he and I always met to go bowling over by.
Oh my gosh, he was his bowling.
Where I love to work. Yeah. He loved that since he was a little kid. Very competitive.
Oh,
Very good.
He was very good.
He was.
He shocked me one night. I was like,
balls.
Yeah. Like, what?
He showed up with. He asked me if I wanted a bowl, and he showed up with his bowling balls. I'm like, how good? I mean, we're not playing for money or anything, are we?
Yeah,
that's never a good sign.
Very, very competitive.
Yeah.
So, But then one night when we were bowling, we were talking, and he said, I'm going to move to Frisco, and I'm going to concentrate on my real estate. I'm not going to concentrate on, I'm not going to just do a whole bunch of things. I'm going to concentrate on real estate. I was like, oh, thank God. That's awesome. Great. And he's moving to Frisco. And when he moved to Frisco, he had an office. They had an office there, but he worked from home. But I think that he got lonely there. We used to have times when that's when he was still engaging with me a lot.
I remember
he would sit home and we would watch The Voice together, and text each other or call each other about the contestants that we liked, and that was I just loved that,
Right.
But then he decided he was going to move back downtown.
God, I remember.
And I
Me
think
too.
that's where things really started to get bad again,
Mm-hmm.
or get bad, really bad.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I didn't know that till afterwards, right? I didn't know that was that he started to get back into things like that. I thought that, okay, he's moving back town because he's lonely. He's got more friends in Uptown or whatever, So, but then he started pulling away from me. I would call him. I cannot tell you how many times I've called
I
him.
think he did from everyone.
And see, I didn't know that, but I kept asking my family, and I asked him, what have I done to make you not want to talk to me? What have I done? I want to fix it,
What did he say?
Nothing, Mom. I'm just busy. I'm busy. And it was always, I would get to the point where I didn't want to call him. I didn't want to text him. I didn't want to bother him.
Mm-hmm.
Because every time I did, he wouldn't answer my text, or he would the phone call would go to voicemail. He wouldn't talk to me. But when I did talk to him, he would be very edgy, and he would be, I'm busy. I'm working on these mortgage companies. I've got all these other things going on besides my real estate, and we've been up all night remodeling this mortgage company. All these things he would say, and I'd be, okay, I don't want to bother you. Okay, fine, Because I honestly thought that was the truth.
Right.
Mhm.
Of course.
But it wasn't until I found out after he's gone, which...
I have to say, when I never knew, honestly. Like, he hid it very well. Do you agree with that?
Oh, I think that his personality is just so kind and loving, and he's funny, and he's the life of the party, and he's a good friend, and he is like, I have partied with Keith, obviously. A lot of us did, and I did not think that was going to happen. I will say we had a Sunday Fun Day a year prior.
Was that the epic Sunday Fun Day?
2016.
Yeah, well, we were out, and I remember him doing stuff in front of me, and I put my hand on his chest, and I was like, I worry about you and your heart. And he was like, Keith, I'm fine. Like,
I'm a grown-ass man.
yeah, I'm invincible, and he would laugh it off. And I think, knowing the Keith I knew, I just actually saw him that way too. Like, we got in my car, like, we were just taking pictures and being silly. And I think I was concerned.
You did tell me at that.
Yeah, and I was like,
remember.
gosh, I'm just worried.
So this was like the year before?
The year before. Because I have pictures, and I remember the pictures. And it was just the mix of things, which it wasn't like hard drugs. That's what I want people to understand. It's not like he was doing lines of cocaine in front of me. I think he took like an Adderall maybe, and then I knew that like had prescription pills, and I worried. I was like, I'm worried about the high and the low in your body. And he was like, I'm fine, kind of that thing. But that was my first initial worry. And then I know for his friends, when we talk about him, and when I talk to Katie now, we talk about how I know that when his two friends passed.
Oh, yeah.
After Davin, my relationship with Keith was never the same. And I know it wasn't just me, Patrick, my mom.
Well, that's when he went. That's when it.
Yeah.
He had a friend that passed away, and November, I think,
Yeah.
the year
Yes.
before.
Mhm.
And then in April, it was Davin.
Mhm.
And he had a couple of twins that he went to school with that had committed suicide, both of them, one a year apart. And so all of this was happening to him,
Mm-hmm.
but he was keeping his feelings to himself. He wouldn't ask or talk about it. And so you never knew what was going on with him.
You had lunch with him after the first one, the November. I don't remember his name. What was his name?
Was it him or was it after Davin?
No,
Davin was April.
Mm-hmm.
I think you had lunch with him after.
I thought it was after Davin.
I thought after Davin you kept trying and you couldn't get him to go. Was it not? Am I wrong?
I can't remember now. I know I know that he, as you were saying, he wouldn't return my calls either, and I kept texting him, calling him, he wouldn't return, and finally I just texted him and I said, I'm coming to your apartment when he was downtown, and we're going to go to lunch. So I didn't really give him a chance to get away. Like I knew he was there.
Yeah.
So, and he went, and we went to a barbecue place down in Dallas, and I was just, we just guys just hanging out. Like guys don't usually talk about emotional stuff, but I just said, I feel like, if you ever need to talk, if you ever need anything, I'm never going to, I don't judge you. I'm just here for you. If you need anything, you want to talk. And that's my relationship with Keith. It's always been that way. Like I've always tried to help, and not that I'm saying he was like, that he needed my help, but I was always trying to help guide him because I saw he had a lot of things weighing heavy on him.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize it was that much of a drug thing.
Mm-hmm.
It just seemed like he had a lot going on. Like you were saying, he always said he was busy.
Yeah.
He always seemed like he was busy.
Well, and he did have a lot going on. He was doing all of
Right.
that, but he was trying to do it
and that's what I was
without sleep, without, you
right.
know,
And I would always
taking
tell
care of
him
himself.
when I would see him, I'd say, Keith, you have to try to, because Keith was how I was younger. Like I was all over the place. Like he was trying to make money in 10 different things instead
Right.
of just really focusing on one. I'd tell him, because he actually worked for us for a little while.
Right.
And I said, Keith, if real estate's where you're going to go, just do that.
Yeah.
You don't need the furniture. You don't need the
Roofing
hail. You don't need
and
the
the-
roof.
yeah.
Focus on
Yeah.
that, because once you get that stable, you'll feel better. You'll get a little more, your legs underneath you. You'll be able to make better decisions.
Mhm.
And he always would do it like right after our talks, he would do it and he would just focus on it. And
Yeah.
then he would just, it's like the lure of the easier money. Like, oh, here's a quick deal over here for,
Yeah.
a quick hail or roof or
Right,
something.
right.
So I need to run over here and do this. I'm like, I know that seems like it's going to solve the problem today, but you got to just stay on this one thing.
Right.
And he would for a little while, and then he'd get off track. But I think I don't remember if it was Davin or the other guy. I think when I went and had lunch with him that day, I could tell he had a lot. He had a heavy heart, and I was like, I just told him, I said, if you ever need anything, like, you're like my son. I'll do whatever you need. I'll give you. I mean, I try to do anything I could, and he said he would. He's like, yeah, I'll get in touch with you if I, whatever I need. And I think he knew I was genuine. I wasn't.
I know,
I was
yeah.
just trying to just be there for him. And guys don't like to admit that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like we think that's like a girl thing.
Yeah.
But I was, and I think he knew that I meant it, and that's why I knew he would do it for a while.
But this is what I think especially with me, he didn't want to let me down.
Right.
He didn't want me to know that. He never wanted me to know about that. I know he didn't.
I think he was that way with me too.
Yes. That's why, yeah.
I think exactly the same way he would do it.
He would feel like he was letting you down.
Right.
And you would see, he wouldn't be as high in your eyes as
And
he was.
when he started getting off track, that's when he stopped the communication, because he didn't want you to see him off track.
Exactly.
And it used to always concern me. And I used to always tell her, man, I've been texting Keith for days. I just feel like he's kind of off track again, type of thing. But I mean, we had a lot of great times, and I always just wanted to be, I always tell him he's like one of our kids, but I always wanted to just be more like a friend with him than anything, and just try to do whatever I could. And I try to be that with most people, but Keith just always had a place in our hearts where, I mean, I could name 100 times where her and I would be out at a bar, and I'd be like, hey, let's let's go have breakfast. And I'd text Keith, and
He'd come.
fucking 30 minutes later,
Denny's.
Keith would be standing in front of Denny's waiting for us, and just be us three.
Well, what does that tell you?
And I'd always
He
be
loves you
like,
guys.
where were you? Like, I was just out hanging out with some buddies and stuff. I'm like, well, where are they? He's like, I don't know. You
But we
guys said you
always-
wanted to eat.
I feel like it's very good. I feel like this is so important for parents or sibling or friends to know that I think the face of what you might think of people you need to worry about, that this shows you that it's not what you would imagine.
And because he had so many friends,
Mm-hmm.
one set of friends would think, okay, I'm sure he's out with these
Right.
friends. I'm
Yeah.
sure he's doing something with these. And he was home. He was home by himself because this is what was going on,
he
a
was
lot.
struggling for sure, like this last year, because I always invited him for Easter,
Mhm.
and when I would text him, he'd text me back, and this is the same. He wouldn't text me back either, and I would ask Patrick, I'd ask Marcella, and no, he didn't text me. So I remember I sent him this one text where I was like, okay, excuse me, are you trying to ignore me? You're not allowed to ignore me. I was this message, and he did text me back on that one because I kind of got
You
like,
kind of, yeah.
excuse me, you can't do that. But then he said he wasn't gonna come for Easter. He was coming to you that Easter. But did he?
No,
He didn't.
no.
Well, then I think that would be the first time that he maybe isolated himself because
Yes.
And remember,
Was
that
friends.
was right after Davin.
Davin. Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he did have so many friends. I don't know anybody who could say one bad thing about him. I don't know anyone who didn't like him. So I feel like everybody he met, he did have so many different friends. So you would think that. I mean, I would think that he's with whoever.
yeah.
And
yeah.
never
And
did
well,
I think
that's
he's
why I
alone.
thought, because he always spent Easter with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was with you. I didn't even ask him to come to my house because I knew he always spent that with you
But
guys.
how
you know.
interesting is that he told me he was gonna be with you
Yeah.
that year.
Well,
So-
yeah. And when you said that, I was like, no. Because I think you said that on the last podcast, right?
Mhm.
Well, and I think it just shows you that, and correct me if I'm wrong, I would think that time in his life was maybe the first and only time he started to isolate from everyone.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that I knew Keith for over 10 years and I would never know him to not be with friends
Yeah.
at some capacity
He was
of
always
someone.
with friends. We had
Yeah.
this one epic fun day Sunday that I'll never forget. This was just something that came together by accident. We were going to go to lunch and
Bowling.
and then we started literally, I think, at 11 in the morning.
Mexican sugar.
Yeah.
We started at Mi Cocina, went to Mexican Sugar, this is in Shops of Legacy.
hmm
Then Keith came, a bunch of people came. Keith came, hung out. We were trying to do other things, but he was so loyal to all the people that he knew because he had made friends with other friends. But we were having so much fun and we didn't want him to leave, but he had made
Plans.
plans to go bowling with other friends. And we tried to tell him, well, bring the other friends here. We'll all bowl together. No, that doesn't work because I promised them I'm going here. And blah. So he left us, went bowling with the other people, only to then later on come back to go bowling
Yeah,
with
that was
us.
a long day at Mexican Sugar.
We did go bowling. And
And then we bowled again that night with Keith.
that's what I'm saying.
So he bowled a lot that day. That's when I learned he had his own balls.
You're so good.
The hell? And I knew he was serious because he was bowling and we were all
Very drunk.
we were wasted.
Wasted.
And he was bowling and a good friend of ours, Mike, got up and grabbed the bowling ball and threw it down Keith's lane when he had already thrown his first ball.
Oh,
And he got
Mad.
really mad. And I was like, this guy, Keith is really serious about bowling. 'Cause I'm thinking, who gives a shit?
He did.
He gave a shit because he's like, you're fucking up my game. And,
You know
Mike,
what, even
and
when-
even Mike was like, what? Oh, what happened?
Even when he was a little kid and
never
we would
seen
take
him
him
that
bowling,
way.
Yeah.
and we'd have the two things on the side for him at first.
Yeah, the bumpers.
Yeah, the bumpers. But after that, if he would get so mad at himself because it would go in the gutter or whatever,
Yeah.
or he'd miss them, he would get so mad. But to grow up and really love the game and to really do so well, it's kind of kind of cool.
I know. It's really
So
funny.
funny. I just loved how loyal he was. To
I didn't
all
realize
his
there was 24-hour bowling alleys, and him and Kevin used to go to them all. They'd be partying all night long, and
And
then they'd
Paula,
go bowl
yeah.
at like 4 a.m. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Who bowls? Is there any? Where do you do that? And he's
That's
like,
where-
well, there's tons of
And
places.
that's where you
Yeah.
run into the craziest people in
Yeah.
society. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I think when I think of Keith, we always talk about my girlfriends and I, who were always friends with him, and you guys too, that I feel like ever since, like nothing is like the same. Like he was just I felt like the world just changed, and it still has never been the same. I'm always like, well, Keith would be here for this or
Yeah, we still say that a lot.
all the time. And it's like, just still to this day, I feel like there was a light that like left, because he was so kind to everybody and non-judgmental.
He never said a bad word about anybody.
No one.
Even if we didn't like someone very much and we wanted, like, I almost wanted him to say something
Yeah, and he wouldn't.
Gossip.
He would
Yeah.
not. He would
Oh,
just,
he didn't like gossip. He did not like that. He would tell me
Nope.
that right off the bat when I'd call him and say, "Hey, what's going on with you and so and so?" Mom, I'm not talking about it. That's just gossip.
Yeah, I do know one of his ex-girlfriends, we talk, and she said the one fight they ever had is she kind of made fun of like a girl, kind of just being a girl. And he, she said because it was a mutual friend, and he was very upset. He was like, you're
It's
not
like that.
going to talk bad or negative. So I think when he was around, it was just always fun. And I have so many videos where we're laughing so hard, and that he's very missed. Like,
Oh yeah, because he made such an impression
Yeah.
on your lives,
and it's just irreplaceable, and it's never going to be the same. And it's just like, it's weird because we do still talk about it. I'm like,
All
oh,
the time.
Keith would be here. I wish Keith was here.
We haven't even done Sunday fun days
We
like
haven't.
we used to.
We honestly haven't, and we haven't done them.
It's not the
We haven't had a
same.
crazy Sunday fun day since.
No.
No,
oh,
it's just, I don't know. It's just not, I don't
No.
know. They just
I
never.
mean, me and
happens.
Gabrielle don't go out as much as
No.
we used to. But even the little bit of times that we do at the end of the night when we're going to go home, and we usually would go to Denny's because we've drank, we want to eat, and it's just not the same because we'd always text him and he'd show up,
Yeah.
and then he'd sleep on our couch, and the next morning we talk about the night, and it was just it's just not the same. It just isn't.
No.
It's still hard for me to believe, honestly.
It's we said you wanted to hear some of our favorite
Yeah.
memories, and
I got a bunch of them.
one of my favorite ones is when he would sleep on our couch, which he did a lot. Usually he either would be gone the next morning when I got up, or he just he wasn't very social the next morning, really. But this the last time he spent the night, for some reason, I don't know what was different. He actually had breakfast. I made him breakfast, and he sat in the bar, in the kitchen, and he sat there talking to me, eating a bagel. I never forget it because it's unusual. And that was literally the last time. And I was always saying, oh my God, he had breakfast today. He was talking this morning. It was really sweet.
so that was the last time.
The last time that he spent the night at our house,
Mhm.
which I don't know. Did we pick him up somewhere?
No, we went to Denny's
We were?
again. Yeah,
Okay.
and he just, we live 5-10 minutes from Denny's, and I'm like, well, instead of driving all the way back downtown, just,
Yeah.
well, we didn't even talk about it. That's just we knew that was what was going to happen.
Yeah.
He just would follow us home and crash on the couch.
And then, he got so mad at me one time. I have to tell you that too. He was always so sweet. He would always love how I dressed. He loved my style. He always was like, that was his thing. And then this is also the last time we went out and partied, actually, at Gloria's. We went out and I don't know what I wore. I just know I wore something where I wore black pantyhose. And then I wore shoes that had block colors on it. And part of it was pink. He was horrified.
He's like, I thought you knew
He
better.
was actually so mad at me. He was like, I am so disappointed. I don't even know. I can't even look down. Like, don't ever do that again.
And you thought he was kidding at first.
Yeah, I was like, what do you mean? He goes, no, I mean, this is serious. Don't
not
ever. You
wear
cannot.
Yeah, even me as his mother knows he had a foot fetish.
Yeah, well, yes.
You know.
There's
We
that.
talk about it all the time.
But that's what I think. You're just a very unique, one of a kind human beings. And I wanted you to know that. Not that you didn't know that already, but that he's very missed. And then I was going to ask you how you are today or how you guys are doing as a family.
We're doing better, much better. I talk to him every day. It would be nice if other people in my family would bring his name up once in a while.
They're probably scared. They don't know. Right?
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
it. I know that's it. I
Mhm.
know that's it. But to
That's what
me,
you
he's
want.
still here.
Mhm.
He's still part of my family. He's still, and I have Nugget now.
You have Nugget now?
I have Nugget now.
Oh.
And my niece kept him because,
Nugget
at the beginning-
is Keith's dog.
yes.
For everyone listening.
And he went to live with my niece in Alabama
Right.
for a while.
Yeah.
But now I was ready for him to come to me.
Mhm.
And I've had him for the past 3 weeks, and he has been
So new.
so he just follows me everywhere. He
Oh.
sleeps right beside me.
Oh.
He puts his face right here. He's just I knew how much Scooter loved
Yeah.
Nugget.
Oh my goodness. It's everything.
So to me, it's like that is such a comfort to me to
Yes.
have him
I'm
now.
so glad you have
and
him.
I don't know why. I should have had him all the time, but I was scared that I wasn't going to be able to give him attention like he needed
Mhm.
it. So he had a good experience at the lake in Alabama for 3 years, and then he
Right.
came back. But I have my days or moments. It comes more in waves, but I have to work really hard at keeping certain thoughts out of my head.
Right.
I have to push it back because it can pull me down so bad.
Of course.
So, but for the most part, I'm doing a lot better.
So tell us, what do you want your family to do? You want your family to actually say his name, right? Tell us what makes you feel better, because I think that's the most important thing. People don't know what to do.
Right. Well, and the sad part is that after I married my husband now, Gary, Keith was like 25. So he wasn't, he was more partying with his friends and
Mhm.
doing things than coming over to my house. He would come Thanksgiving or Christmas, and then he would come a few times once when I would get like, we need to see each other. It's time, it's been a while. It's been a month.
Mhm.
I always kept up with how long it was. and he's like, oh, Mom. But he was always really good about Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm.
The last year he had made a date with a girl that he met in Kansas City.
I remember.
yes.
Jen.
Jen.
He adored her.
Yeah, he was there
adored
with
her.
us when he met her.
Yes, he was working with you guys.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was why he was there, right?
Yep.
So he had made plans with her, not knowing it was Mother's Day weekend. So he hadn't called me, and I'm like, okay. So Saturday I called him and I said, hey, what are you doing? I'm in Kansas City with Jen. Oh, well, you know what tomorrow is, right? Mother's Day. I know, Mom. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that it was going to be that weekend, but I will be there tomorrow. Tomorrow. So he flew back home that Sunday morning, and that afternoon, him and Nugget were right there with me, like they are every year,
Right.
But then, as far as family and what they can do, I mean, all they have to do is just say his name and say, hey, something.
Yeah.
Scooter, because all my family calls him Scooter. My niece Shannon was very close to him, and she doesn't have a problem at all bringing his name up. So that helps me because she's kind of become my daughter.
Mm.
She's kind of stepped in, and I go to her house every Christmas now. Since he's been gone, I haven't had a Christmas here once. I've gone to Alabama, and she's good about bringing his name up. But then my husband's side of the family, which I don't have many on my side.
Mhm.
It's my sister, which we don't even have a relationship, but Shannon and that group, they do bring his name up. That's my side of the family.
Right.
But Gary's, because he wasn't around a lot
Mhm.
with them, then they don't really know what to say or do. It's understandable.
Right, right.
I understand. And I do understand that people feel uncomfortable because they don't want to make me, if I weren't thinking about him, they don't want to bring him up so
Mhm.
that I might get upset. I get that, because I've understood that with other people I've known that have lost children, so.
But that's the thing. They say a mom's worst fear is that their child will be forgotten. So that's why
Yeah.
it's so important to bring up their name and
Yeah.
talk about them. And, when you posted that song that someone wrote about,
Well, I only sent it to a few people. I didn't put it out completely on Facebook. It's just to a certain few people.
I just thought Keith, even though struggled, but he wasn't a junkie.
No.
And so I wanted to make sure
And
that
that's
he's remembered.
I told you that
Yeah.
I hated that song
Yes.
and I hated the lyrics,
Yeah.
but I didn't get to pick them.
No,
like
that's
that. But
true.
And
Yeah,
of course
so-
not. But that's why I wanted us
Yeah.
to do
So
a
this-
show to remember him.
So this is like a twofold thing, honoring him and remembering him, but also giving some tips maybe to other parents
Yes.
that have children that are grown, that they don't have a clue that their
Right.
grown child is doing something and maybe struggling and maybe needing help.
How old was Keith when
He
he
was-
passed away?
He was 35. He would have been 36 the next week.
Yeah. Right before his birthday.
So
that's
that's
right.
that's what we're talking about. And I think that's such a real thing. 35 years old.
Yeah.
If you could have, what would you have done?
Anything.
Anything.
I would have been beating down his door.
Right.
I wouldn't have. I certainly wouldn't be just sitting back saying, "Oh, he's busy." I'll just leave him alone,
Right.
leave him to his stuff. No, I'm not that kind of mother. I wouldn't have done that.
Right.
So would you recommend that a mom or father parent does that? Maybe if they see some pullback, maybe go be a little bit more aggressive.
I think that had I had any clue, I really thought that he was 35 years old. He
Right.
was done with that.
Right.
His friends were done with that. That he was done with that, and that he was really very busy with all the things going on, all the work. But I would think if they don't bury their head in the sand like I did, and they always think it could be drugs.
Right.
And in that case, you need to try to have an open conversation with your grown child if he's grown, because a lot of times with children it's a lot easier, younger children, but with a grown child, as he told me many times, I'm a grown ass man.
Mm-hmm.
Then you try, you
Yeah.
kind of back off because he's a man, he knows what
It
he's
is
doing.
such a fine line.
It is, and I'm still his mother. But I remember when he brought Jen over Christmas Eve, the last Christmas Eve. She and I were in the kitchen, and I don't know how we got on the subject, but I said something about. I think I said something about he just doesn't call me. He doesn't answer my text, And she said, he said that his dad never bothers him, but you get on his nerves because you bother him all the time.
She said,
I was like, what? But that just shows you that I did it because I love him and I wanted to be with him. I wanted to talk to him. I wanted to
course.
know. I wanted him to be more in my life,
right.
But I also know that I was number one in his life.
He loved
No matter
you
what,
very much.
He did. And being my only child, when he left, I don't have anything. I don't have a son that got married and had children, bought a home,
Mm-hmm.
and did the whole thing,
Right.
I have Nugget, and I'm thankful for Nugget.
Right.
So that's my grandpuppy. But anybody else that needs to, that thinks their children are pulling away, they don't return texts, they don't return phone calls, they don't come over as much, think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it.
because
Yeah.
that's something different than what they normally would have done
Mm-hmm.
in the past. So that could be a red flag
signs.
for you.
Showing signs of something.
Yeah.
Well, I think, therapists and people sometimes will say, well, there has to be boundaries. Like mom has to stop at some point when your kid's an adult and you need to tell them that you have boundaries. But I think that can get miscommunicated because it's like, well, yes, boundaries, but that you are still the mom no
Mhm.
matter what. I mean, she will tell you.
Yeah, you'll never have your
No,
mom.
I know that already. But also, she's like, even if I want to be kind of bitchy, she's like, I don't give a shit if you're 40. You will not speak to me that way. I'm like, okay, I'm still scared, but
True story.
true story. There's a fine line. I'm just kidding. But I think that has to be considered sometimes. Like I know that as an adult, we want like our space. Like I'm a grown up. I don't need you to tell me what to do. Stop calling, whatever. I don't need to check in anymore. But there is something that I think as parents, you are still the parent and you're not anymore, even though they turn 18. Because I've seen some students of mine, their parents are like, well, they're 18 now, like just go. I'm like, but you do have to be a little bit more concerned maybe.
Yeah.
But I understand what Debbie is saying. And if you don't know, and you
course.
only know what you know, right? And so when you are told by your son, I'm busy,
Right.
and then
And also he would get, I could tell that in his voice that he would be a little irritated
Right.
that I'm bothering him.
so
But hindsight 2020, right?
Right.
You know that now I know
Whatever.
that it wasn't something that I did.
Right.
When I thought, what did I do that's so bad that he doesn't want to be around me? Oh my God. I'd tell my sister-in-law, what do I do? What should I do? She said, just don't call him or text him for a while and just see if I said, I can't do that.
I'm glad you didn't do that.
I can't do that. I
Oh.
can't do that.
Yeah.
Because on the 8th of August, 2017, the week before, I'd sent him a text and said, do you want to come over for your birthday? And I can make you pina colada cake, which is his favorite, or I can make you chocolate chip cookies or whatever you want. He never responded. And that was the week before. Well, on the 8th, which was 2 days before they found him, that evening I texted him and I said, hey, son. And he came back and he said, hey, Mom, I'm sorry. I just saw that you text me. Yes, I can come on that. I think it was the 17th, whatever the next following weekend was after his birthday. And he said, I said, what do you want? Do you want the cake or do you want the cookies? Pina colada, please. And I said, okay, you got it. I said, I love you. He said, I love you too. And that's the first time he has ever put exclamation marks after that. And that was the last time that I talked to him was through that text. And then on Thursday was when they found him.
How did you find out?
A detective called me I normally don't answer calls that I get that I don't know who they are, you know.
Mhm.
So, but for some reason that morning I was walking into work. It was about 6:45, I guess. The phone rang and I had my phone in my hand, and for some reason I answered it, and it was a detective. And he said, "Are you Keith Moses' mom? Are you Debbie Day?" Yes. Well,
Did you
then
know?
I set my stuff down on my desk and I said, "What's going on? What's going on?" And he said, "Well, he's overdosed." I said, "Okay, where is he? Where is he?" And then he said he's at his apartment. I knew
Yeah.
that he wouldn't still be there. And that's how I found out.
What did you do next? I mean,
I screamed. I worked at Ericsson, huge company. You could have heard me all over that building. And then, of course, people came running. My supervisor that I'd had before, I didn't work for her anymore, but she's like a really good friend to me. So she came running over there, and she started taking over things, and she called my husband, and then they took me somewhere. I don't even remember. They got a wheelchair and put me in a wheelchair and took me somewhere, and then Gary came to pick me up. And then I went home, and I'm sure I was in shock. I was in shock. I just couldn't say anything. I couldn't do anything. I just went home and sat there. And then all my relatives from Oregon to New York to Alabama to Arkansas, all of them showed up that evening. They were all there. And everybody took care of everything. Even, I mean, I have had a son-in-law that was a Rowlett police officer, and he took care of all the arrangements but I did want to address one thing that was said in the last podcast.
I want you to.
The point about him, his casket being open or not open, I did not want it to be open. But there were friends and a stepbrother that were needing closure and wanted the casket open. And I always try to take care of other people and do what other people want instead of what I want. So I said, okay, because I didn't want anybody to feel like they couldn't have closure because it wasn't open.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I did it. Now, in the last podcast, you said that somebody told you that it was for a fear factor. That is absolutely not true.
But not from your side.
I know who it was.
Okay.
I know who it was. But that is not true. And why would I do that? Why? Why would I want to make people fearful or pay? Why would I want that? And I know Keith wouldn't have wanted it open.
Mm-hmm.
But he loved the way he looked and the way he dressed and stuff. I know he wouldn't have wanted it open. But I was trying to take care of people that were still here and that felt like they needed it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what really happened. But the person that said it was for a fear factor.
That was from him. He said that he wanted that.
Oh, no. No, that wasn't.
Not Keith.
I know.
The person that said
I know. Said he wanted it open.
For that purpose.
Oh, no. Well, I never heard from that person telling me that he wanted it open. There was like the two people mainly, Kyle Stiles.
Yeah.
And Jonathan. They were the ones that were pleading with me. It wasn't just like, can you do it? They were pleading with me. I need that.
Right.
And maybe some people do need to see someone to be sure that that's really happened. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I have a video or, CD of the funeral. I still have not watched it. I can't watch it.
Mm-mm.
I cannot watch it. I want to because I want to see who came that I don't remember anybody. I don't remember anybody except Davin's mother.
Oh, wow.
And she handed me her card. And on the back it said Davin's mother. And I lost it because I knew she just went through the same thing.
Right.
A few months before. So, but I've heard from so many people that loved him. So many people I've never known, I've never heard of. People that would, and I didn't even think about checking Messenger because I wasn't in that frame of mind,
Mm-hmm.
But a year later, I see all these messages like, oh my God, these people, what did they think? I didn't respond to them, but there were stories.
Oh.
There were so many stories.
Mm.
And one in particular, a girl that he went out with a few times in July. And I guess that I think maybe the reason why he quit seeing her because she was really sweet. She was going to be an attorney. She is now. She came to my house for Thanksgiving last year. But she told me that they had talked a lot. And I had this worry about going to heaven I went through 2 grief counseling sessions, and they had a chapter on that. Well, I remember Keith telling me one time when I said, thank God or something, and he said, if you say so. But I know where that came from. I know where it came from.
Me too.
But with Trisha, she told me how he got his name Scooter. She told me so many things, that he had just gone to Gulf Shores with us. She told me so many things about him that any other person just might not know, except a friend maybe, right? So, and she was just like crazy she just loved him to death. Well, so she told, because I told her, I said, well, you were at his apartment, right? And I said, what did y'all talk about? She said, well, we talked about God. And the one thing that he said was he wondered why God took so many good people. But she said, I also saw a Bible that you had given him a few years back on his nightstand. Sure enough, it was there when I went to clean out his apartment. He had boxes of things packed and in a closet from when he moved from one place to another. Well, that Bible was unpacked beside his bed. And he had it marked, the page turned down under Moses, the section Moses. And so I knew that was God's way of telling me that he took that Bible out and he had it beside his bed. So I'm not worried about where he is. I'm not worried at all. I know where he is. And there's been several other things that have popped up that made me think, okay, I know God. I know he's with you. I know you're taking care of him now. So
those are the signs.
Yeah.
They say they send those signs.
Yeah.
The
first week after he passed away, it was so strange because I had a dream about him, and he came back as a little kid, in junior high, right? And he said, Mom, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I hurt you. I'm so sorry. I said, okay, well, I need your phone. I need your phone. I need to look in your phone. You need to give me your password. He goes, what for? I'm not giving you my password. I said, I need your phone. And then it's like I fell back asleep and I woke up and there was a computer in front of me and I see him sitting at a table with my niece and some other people, and but they're grown, and he's still a junior high school, and he's drinking a beer. And I started saying, "What are you doing? You're not grown. You can't drink a beer, And then that was it. Then I woke up, and the song that was in my head, if you ever wake up and you have a song in your head playing, was "Hello from the Other Side." I'm sorry for breaking your heart. I hadn't heard that in a long time. Yeah. And that song was like, he's talking to me. He's telling me.
Right.
I believe that.
I do too.
For sure.
But, I'm much better now. And knowing that it's me that's hurting because I don't have him here with me.
Yes.
But if he's in a much better place and he's happy and he's healthy and he doesn't have all the burdens on him that he had here, then I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
You want to hear one of Patrick's stories about him?
Of course.
Oh, boy. Where do we begin? I mean, there's so many of great times and funny times. And
tell your favorite one.
One of my favorite ones was actually a fun thing when he worked with us. It was, you'll probably not want to hear this, but...
no, I want to hear it all.
I got a phone call from his stepbrother, who I've never met before in my life. Jonathan called me, and it was 9:30 in the morning, and he said, "Hey, my name's Jonathan. Keith told me to call you." And I'm like, "Okay, what's up?" He's like, "Well, he's in the Addison jail."
Oh, Lord.
And he said, "Call Patrick. Here's his phone number. He's the only one that can help." And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I never heard about that.
Yeah. Well, it gets way better. So,
oh, great.
I go to Addison and I go to the police station and I'm like, okay, I'm here to bail Keith Moses out. And they said, well, he has warrants in 3 other counties. Nothing major. It was like unpaid parking ticket, unpaid speeding ticket, nothing like crazy.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't let him out until I went to all those other counties and paid him.
Oh, no.
So
Thank God he had people that loved him.
I know.
unknown to me, I had no idea that when you go bail someone out, they don't take credit cards. They will only take cash.
Really?
I didn't know this. So I paid the Addison people, and they're like, you need to go downtown and pay Dallas County. I think I had to go to Collin County and Tarrant County, and I was in all these counties all over the place.
And when was this?
This is when he worked with us. So right before we went to Kansas City.
Okay.
So I go down to Dallas and I get in line. I'm waiting. They're like, no, we don't take credit cards. I'm like, shit. So I go back outside, get in my car, go find a bank, and I don't have any idea how long this process is going to take. So I had at the time like a limit on how much I can withdraw out of my ATM.
Yeah.
So I go back and pay this one. Like, well, now you need to go to Tarrant County. And I'm like, holy, like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to withdraw enough money off my ATM card to get him out of jail today.
Wow.
So I end up just having to go to the bank now. And I'm like, okay, now I need to withdraw more money. So basically about 7:30 that night after me driving, this started at like 9:30 in the morning, like 7:30 at night, they finally let him out of jail after I went to all 4 counties and paid everybody. And he gets in the car and looks at me, he's like, I knew you'd be the only one that could do it.
Did he give you a big old hug?
He gave me a hug and he's like, I'm going to pay you back every dollar, which he did. And he's like, I just knew you're the only one. Like, I didn't want him to call Kevin. I didn't want him to call any. I just knew that you would be the one that would get it done. So yeah, I spent about a 8-10 hour day driving county to county to county, standing in lines all day long with cash to get him out of jail. 4 different counties. So yeah, it was pretty interesting, and I learned a lot about bail that day.
Yeah,
I never did it before, but since I've bailed other friends out, I've learned how to do it. But yeah, it's Keith
I
was.
think we were sending him texts to the phone, even though he was in jail, just so he could get them when he got out. We were like,
yeah, we
free
did.
Keith, free Keith.
He was showing me there was like guys in the black and white striped shirt holding the bars. And he had like tons of memes
We
in
like
his
blew
phone when
up
he got
his
out.
phone.
Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah, it's a lot of funny stuff like that.
He's
But
always funny.
That was one of the fun stories with him.
That was taking care of one of your sons, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what he said. Jonathan told me, he said, you're the only one that'll do this. And I'm like, well, what's he need? Well, he's in jail. I'm like, oh boy.
Well, that one Easter when he came over, and I have no idea why, but he started eating the hard-boiled Easter eggs, the colored ones.
Those are the pictures that we have.
with the
Shell on him.
shell on them.
Oh, wait a minute now. He was eating the shell,
Yeah.
too?
Yeah,
the
just picking the
entire-
eggs up and biting them.
Hey,
just
no,
eating them.
I promise you he knew better than that. He knew to take the shell off before.
No, he did. That's why it was so funny.
That we have so many pictures.
And then
from
he's
that
like
Easter.
on the stairs with Jolie's big hippo. He's just hugging the hippo on the stairs.
yeah.
It's just entertaining.
entertaining.
the entire-
Oh, and
time.
I saw one of the pictures that you guys posted about where he had that mermaid tail on.
Oh yeah.
Jolie's mermaid.
I was like, I wish I'd have been there for all this stuff.
I mean, we would laugh and laugh and laugh.
Probably
You
the
need to-
best epic night was the race with him and Mike.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
I saw that
The
too.
foot
Yeah.
race.
But you need to tell. Patrick is the perfect person to tell you the story about it, though.
I had never. I mean, it had to be 3:00 in the morning.
It was because I
and
had
these-
the timestamp on my phone.
It was 3 a.m. and we
3
were
a.m.
wasted again. Like
Yeah.
usually when we were all together by 3 a.m.,
makes us
we
look
weren't
so bad.
sober.
We're not drunk all the time. This is like these
Yeah.
are just
This
random
Anytime we're all
stories.
together. Him and Mike started having that argument about who was faster, and I had no idea how fast either of them were. But I was like, I wasn't thinking we're going to go settle this tonight. Like that wasn't in my head. But these two were damn straight going to settle it. So they go in front of our house. It's the summertime, and at the end of my street, there's like water that always runs in the street.
Oh my god!
And it's there all summer long, so now it's got moss growing in it. So him and Mike, Keith's like, I gotta take my shoes off, so he's barefoot. Mike takes his shoes off. They're both, very drunk, and the first time they go, I think Mike won, and Keith's like, I wasn't ready. So I'm like, okay, they're gonna go again. So the second time they go, it's like neck and neck, and they both hit that
Slip on
slime
that
in the
water.
street and go down.
Oh.
Now they're running full speed when they hit this. They both hit at the same time. Feet slid out, and Mike broke his wrist. He's bloody.
Keith, oh
He's
my
bloody
God.
from head to toe, like scrapes
Laying
all
in the
over.
street. I
Laying in the
was like,
street.
Keith was
Cars are
screaming
coming. I'm like, get out of the street. So the funniest part about it all was we had just got white couches.
And he was going to sleep.
And he was going to sleep on the couch. So I'm like, no way, bro. You're bleeding all over the place. No way. So Keith, in his ingenuity, goes in my cabinet and gets saran wrap and wraps all of his wounds in saran wrap and goes, all right, I'm going to bed. So the next day, getting that saran wrap off, everything's now dried.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
And it was kind of like watching a waxing video. It was hysterical watching him get that stuff. He's like, what was I thinking? He's trying to unwrap and it's just stuck to every wound. But he didn't get blood on the couch.
That's very smart.
Yeah, we had a lot of funny nights like that.
What about you, Stella?
Oh my gosh. I have so many. The first time I went out with Keith actually was after a Mavericks game because I was Dallas Mavericks dancer at the time. And well, how I met Keith actually is pretty interesting because we were at a bar that was you would go to after every Mavericks game. And I was running because I thought that was a good idea. And I ran smack into Keith, like literally spilled the drink, like everything. I was like, oh God, I'm so sorry. So that's how we met. And then we went out for the first time with him and Mark Suter in a rental car. And this is the first time I had met them.
Oh, was Mark with him that night?
Yes.
Okay.
And I had never met two people who had that kind of energy. And I was in the back and they thought it was a good idea to suddenly destroy the rental. And I was like, oh, to the point Keith and I had to get out of the car and Mark decided to slam it into a wall because he said something about insurance. And Keith and I were like, oh my gosh, I could not even believe. So that was kind of, here's the funniest part about that is it intrigued me to want to date Keith. I was like, this is really interesting. You're not boring at all. So we dated after that. And I don't know why. I just knew that he was going to be a lot of fun. And it was. We had a lot of fun. And I think, I remember he's at every birthday of mine. He was at every holiday. I mean, he's just so funny.
Even though y'all weren't, it's kind of like that's like it was meant to be, right? You run into him, and then look what he gets. He gets this family.
Well,
But we got him too.
Yeah. And we always joke because all the girls became friends. So Keith would date one, and then the way he would break up with you couldn't be mad. You're like, I'm heartbroken, but I can't be mad at him because he told me he was not going to be a very good boyfriend. He was at least honest. So you're like, oh man, you're just upset. But then
Didn't he break up before he would cheat?
Yeah, that's what he told me. I'm like, well, I appreciate that actually. And then another girl would date him, and then we would meet the girl, and then we would become friends with the girl. And we're one picture.
Oh my God, that's hysterical. There's
sent
10, 12 girls lined up,
There's
all
a
hoochie
picture.
momming out for a night out.
No, we're in swimsuits.
Oh, swimsuits.
And
he'd been with every one of them in the picture.
Oh my God.
And I sent the picture in a group to
And his
everybody.
response was classic.
Because that's awkward.
And then it just lit up underneath with all the girls saying shit.
But we're all friends still. And that's the best part is that we get to have.
That's why he said it was awkward. He's like,
Yeah, that's awkward.
weird. I dated every one of these girls in this picture.
Nobody else could pull that off.
No.
I don't know any other guy who would have all your ex-girlfriends love you still and be best friends and have this very odd connection. But it's fine because we love Keith, so it didn't matter. We just loved him.
So I don't know if Patrick or Marcella should tell the story about the suicide shot.
Oh, that is his famous go-to every night.
Patrick.
Patrick.
Do you
I
know
mean-
about that though, right?
I heard about the suicide shot, but I don't remember it.
Every time I was with Keith, I'd see it because that was his go-to every
Because
time.
everyone would
It's
ask
his
him to
party
do
trick.
it. Because
Yeah,
it
that was his party
so
trick.
Party
I mean,
trick.
you guys,
I think I do remember a little bit.
do you know what that is, Spider? Where
Oh,
he
yeah.
You
Oh, yeah.
snort the
snort
salt.
the salt and
Oh.
squirt the lime in your eye and then do the shot.
I think
Wait,
it was
what?
just
In your eye?
in your eye.
He'd open his eyeball up and squirt the lime in it. Then he'd
I have a
snort
video
the
of that,
salt and then
too.
he'd drink the shot.
Debbie, have you not seen the video I have?
I guess not.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
And he yells at Patrick. This is that same Easter. He does a suicide shot, and I filmed it finally. I think I was just always intrigued by him doing that in public. I was like,
But everyone was because everyone
Used
would
to there,
ask
you do
him
in the
every
bars.
party.
Yeah.
I mean, who puts
Someone
lime
would
in their eyeball?
Keith Moses.
Keith Moses.
Oh my God, my son.
He did it regularly.
But the Easter time when I was filming, he put the lime in his eye and he yelled. The next thing he yells is, why didn't you tell me that lime was so juicy? And it was like burning his eye. And I will never forget, like I can hear it in my head. It's just so funny. And he was so entertaining.
Then we had Mike made him do it at Mick Casino. We have a video of that.
He did it
Everywhere.
everywhere we went.
It was just very funny.
I think he
Everyone-
would do it as like a shock factor to everyone who didn't know he did it regularly. Like everyone else in the bar that we didn't know.
Yeah.
Just watching him do it. I think he just loved watching
He
their
loved it,
reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'd be like, this motherfucker's crazy.
Yeah.
And he loved it.
Loved it.
So I have one more story that I think we need to tell because, you know, when someone passes away, it is so sad and it's so. I love the stories of the memories that we have, but then he was also such a good heart and soul. And I don't know if you know about the night that he and Mike went to find a homeless man.
Oh,
And you want to tell it?
I mean, it's classic. So him and Mike were out drinking one night and Keith decided to, they did, I don't know who decided, but they decided to pick a homeless man and give him I don't know if it was give him a chance, but they basically,
They took him home,
they took him home to Keith's apartment.
gave him a bath.
They basically cleaned him up and let him pick any suit. So Keith let him pick one of his suits. And then they took pictures with him and they were basically wanting him to.
They gave him money.
They gave him money and said, you know, we want to help you get on your feet. So they basically brought this guy home and did like a makeover for this homeless man in Keith's apartment and sent him on his way in the suit
get us-
and money
to get him
to get a job.
Mhm.
Oh,
There's pictures
And
of that.
there's pictures
Yeah.
of that. And
Yeah, I think I have them.
the suit on the homeless man is way too big, but it's
Yeah.
just so funny.
It's way too big.
And there's actually a video of them
And that guy's
approaching them.
face, you could see
Yes.
like this black guy was so proud, like he
Aw.
couldn't, you'd think this guy just won the lottery.
Yeah.
And it was just like, just a thought. I think it came from Keith's mind. Like, let's go,
well,
they're
Yeah.
drunk one night. Let's go make over a homeless man and give him a chance.
Yeah. Well, I think you could always count on him. Not only to like be there to like party, but you could, if you needed anything, I think everyone knew you could call Keith, or even though he needed people like that too, I think we just always knew that he would be there or pick us up or rescue you if you needed to, or just he was always there.
I think what everyone always said about him that was amazing was he did know so many people, and all those people now all know each other.
Yeah, he brought
Because
people
of Keith.
together. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
brought so many groups together into one that now everybody knows each other, and it all stemmed from him. Like
Yeah.
aw.
I'm talking hundreds of people that
Yeah.
never would have met each other except for him,
I agree.
which
with
is
that.
amazing. Like he brought a lot of people, and they're all still friends today.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Like, he knew a lot of people.
Do you talk to his friends still? Do you talk to Kyle?
yes.
That's good.
Kyle will text me every once in a while, and he's been to our house for Thanksgiving the last 2 Thanksgivings.
Good.
Aw.
Yeah. And then yes, and Christy.
Yes.
You know Christy.
Yeah.
Christy will text me, and Misty, of course,
Yeah.
a lot. So, and then there's other friends of his, but not quite as often as those do. But those people stay in touch with me and how are you and what's going on. And Kyle, I have to say, Kyle, he said he saw him a couple of weeks before he passed away at a warehouse that he had rented.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that Keith told him that he was lonely and he was depressed. So, and Kyle, it really got to him. It really got to him. And he would call me just to talk about him. He would send me pictures of people that he would see somewhere that looked like Keith.
Mm-hmm.
He'd send them to me and say, "Doesn't he look like Keith? Is that Keith? Is that Keith?" You know. But yeah, so they do. They've been, more people have been in touch with me. People that I didn't even know that have reached out, and just because they thought so much of him.
How do you want him to be remembered?
As you all have just said,
Mm-hmm.
as a person that brought people together, as a person that you could count on, as a person that was fun and happy and just all of those good things that just like doing this today. It's been 3 years and everybody still feels the pain of losing him because he made such an impact on people's lives. So I think that's what I want him to be remembered.
I only know Keith is happy,
And on lonely, when you say that doesn't even
which is, you wonder if
fit together.
how you said earlier, he would pull away because he didn't want to disappoint. I don't know Keith any other way, even in the craziest moments, other than being happy and
and that's
laughing.
why he pulled away, because that's what he wants y'all to
remember.
Remember. He doesn't want people to. He didn't want people to. He never wanted anybody to think that he wasn't exact what he was around you.
Right.
He didn't want to be weak. He didn't want to be mean. Now, some of it started coming out that was not him.
Mm-hmm.
In the very end, it was not him. We went to Gulf Shores. He's always made these trips, because he knows how much it meant to me. And I guess 2 years before he passed away, we went to Alabama, and he told me he couldn't go. Well, then he called my niece and he said, "I'm coming. I just don't want her to know. I'm going to surprise her." And so he ended up coming, but always, because he never wanted to let me down. He always wanted to make me happy and be there for me if I needed him or wanted him. And he always knew when there's been a little bit of time, I got to do something, He always knew that. But when we went to Gulf Shores, he was not the same person. And that was in June. And he passed away in August. He was not, he would talk to me in a different way. He'd be kind of sharp, with me. And he's never been that way. Never. And I cried because he hurt my feelings so bad, because I just sobbed because he's never talked to me like that. And my niece and my niece's best friend, they were sitting at the table one night, and the rest of us had all gone to bed. And he took a dollar bill and rolled up something. I don't know what it was. I think it was one of the blue pills, an Oxycontin or whatever that is. And crushed it up, rolled it up, and snorted it. And I didn't find out until after he passed away, of course, about this. But my niece was telling me, and she said, "Scooter, do you know what would happen to your mother if something happened to you? You need to be thinking about that. You need to think about that." And he goes, "Oh, I'm fine. It's all fine, But he would only stay he stayed 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't stay the whole week. Well, now I know why. He needed to get back to something, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did you know what he overdosed on?
They said the autopsy report said it was methamphetamines and amphetamines.
Mhm.
There's two different things, I think, and that's what killed him. But they didn't go into anything else. But I always thought that, okay, if he liked anything, it was going to be downers. It's not going to be the other stuff, But that's what they said happened to him.
Which that shocked me also. I remember coming to your house and Misty and I were reading it, and I was like, it just kind of blew my mind because I don't even know what happens to somebody when that.
I know. And you know what, for a long time, I was Googling stuff, trying to find out, did he know what was happening to him? Did he hurt? Did he, that will drive you crazy. It will drive you crazy. And thank God I didn't ever find any, really, any answers that were definitive, So I finally said, Debbie, you've got to stop. You have to stop. You can't do this.
Yeah.
But I remember standing in his apartment one day when we had to go clean it out. And I look over at the sink because that's where I was told he was found, was like had fixed a drink. He had all this stuff out on the countertop, and he had fixed a drink. It was like he just turned around and just slumped to the ground. And I'm standing in this window, looking out the window at the hospital that he was born in, and then turn around and look at the spot where he didn't make it. So it was kind of a powerful thing.
Because his window was
Looked out of Methodist Hospital.
Wow.
Where he was born.
Wow.
But, it's better. God makes it better.
Mm-hmm.
I just had to say, take this off of me. I just can't carry this weight any longer. Please help me. And it's funny, when I finally really did that for once, he did. That afternoon, I felt like a big weight had been lifted off of me, like somebody else had taken it on, and I was better.
Wow.
I'm so sorry. I don't ever know the right words because there aren't any. Is there anything else that you want to say about him?
I love you, Keith.
We all love you.
Yeah, we love you and miss
Absolutely.
you. And this is the best way, I think, to always. We talk about him all the time.
Yes,
So
we
if you
do.
ever think
Mhm.
for some reason it feels like, as time goes by that maybe, like she said, he's becoming forgotten by everyone, I just want you to know that he's not.
He's not.
And
forgotten.
I believe that. I know he isn't. I know
Yeah.
he isn't. And I know he had a lot of friends, and, this makes me happy. I just wish he was watching down and saw and felt the love from so many people.
I feel like he is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really do. So, everyone, all the friends, all the family, bring up his name as often as you
Mhm.
want to,
It
because
helps.
Debbie wants that,
Yeah.
and we thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for doing this for Keith.
And you. We did it for
Yes.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.